Hello friends, welcome to another episode of Techie Tuesdays. I'm your host S. Ravi Kumar. Techie Tuesdays is a weekly show where I answer your tech and career related queries. So if you like my answers, then please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends, family and colleagues. Now let's get started with today's questions. Today's first question is by Gyan R. Biswal. He's asking, how can web applications benefit me and the way I do business? Gyan, you haven't mentioned what is your business and I don't know how do you do your business. So I will tell you in general how software or web applications can benefit you in any business. So using software, what will be the benefits of using software or web application in any business? The first benefit of using software or using web application for managing any business is improved efficiency. So by improved efficiency, I mean that you will get reports or you will get any kind of data you need, you will get it as soon as possible. So you can, if you let's talk about balance sheet. So you can not only generate like right now, if you ask your accountant to create your balance sheet, he will ask you to give so many data and then he will take some time to create that balance sheet. Whereas if your accountant is using some software or some web application to enter the data, he can generate the balance sheet using that software directly or instantaneously, I would say. The same benefit in efficiency is accurate calculation. So whenever you use any manual process, there are chances of error because to error means humans. So usually humans do error in whatever they do, especially in when we talk about mathematical calculations. So whereas in computers everything is, you can say, formula based. So if your data is correct and the formula is correct, then the scope of error is very less. So again, it will increase the efficiency of your business if you use software or web application to manage your business. Second benefit is it's environment friendly. So if you don't use any software and you do everything manually, you will be using a lot of paper, a lot of stationery. Whereas if you do the things manually, electronically or using any web application or software, you can maintain the data for longer period of time, as well as it will be environment friendly because you are not doing it on paper. So you will save a lot of paper and everything will be done electronically. So using software is of course environment friendly. Another benefit is easy accessibility. So if you are managing your business using web application or website, you can access that web application or website from anywhere in the world. So even if you are traveling, you can check what are the reports or how your business, how your sales, how your purchases are going on. You can give approvals on things even if you are traveling or even if you are somewhere else, not at the place where you do the business. So it is the easy accessibility is another benefit of using web application or web-based software for managing your business. Another benefit of using website or web application to manage your business is increased brand value. Since you can access a website or web application from anywhere in the world, you can also showcase your website or web application to anyone anywhere in the world. So all the people who know about your business can very easily see your brand or they can recognize your brand very easily if they already have visited your site. So again, it will increase your brand value and brand image also if you use web application to manage your business. Last but not the least is easy customization. So if you ask someone to develop web application or website or software to manage your business, you can customize that software according to your needs. You can add the features according to your needs. You can add the UI according to you can change the UI according to your needs. You can change the look and feel of your website as per your personal choice and your brand value. So again, it will give you easy customization if you get a custom application developed for your business. Although this is not the benefit of using software, but of course this is the benefit of using customized software, that it gives you the option to customize the application or software as per your business need. So this customization is only available in softwares. Of course you can't get like if you talk about manual processes, these customization will take time, but when we talk about softwares, once you have get the customization done, it will be there for longer period of time. Next question is from Ayush Mahera. He's asking, what do software developers do at work? Ayush, software developers are foot soldiers of software development industry. So basically, in general, almost all the software developers do three main tasks. Number one, requirement analysis. Number two, coding or development. And number three, testing, or you can say unit testing. Not testing, not actual testing, integration testing, but unit testing. And these three processes basically differ from company to company. So to manage these processes, different companies use different tools. We call them project management tools, and those things are managed by a project manager. However, the regular like general roles and responsibilities, or you can say general responsibilities of a software developer is to gather requirements and analyze requirement. And by analyze requirement, I don't mean that analyze the requirement of whole software. Analyze the requirement of only that portion of the task given to them. So they analyze the requirement of a particular task, then and what they do in that requirement analysis is basically they analyze that what all code changes they need to do and where they need to do that changes in the application. Then they write code to do those changes, or if they get a new requirement, or if they have to create a new screen, so they do all the coding of that, and then they write unit test cases to test those particular components of code which they have written. And then unit testing is also not used, like not implemented, or you can say not follow in all the companies. It depends on companies to companies. Many companies or many developer of many companies, they don't write unit test cases, but in general it's a best practice to write unit test cases. But so general role, as I say, is like 70 to 80% of developers do requirement analysis and coding. Software developer do requirement analysis and coding, and I would say that 10-20% who are in some big companies or good companies which follow best coding practices, they do all the three, that is requirement analysis, coding, and then writing unit test cases. And of course one task which is updating all these tasks in whatever task management software they are using. They like mention the time used in that task management software. So these are the general responsibilities of a software developer. 5 to 10% software developers also do some kind of research work. These are primarily a few experienced software developers. So if a software developer has 5 to 6 years of experience, they usually do some kind of research work. I won't say like popular research work, we term it as research work, but basic what they do is they go through the documentation of the software or documentation of the language to implement any complex feature which is not implemented by default in that application. So if any complex things they have to write, they do some kind of reading and documentation reading and example development, and they call it as research work. But that is always done by only 5 to 10% of developer. 80 to 90% of developers do only these three things, that is analysis of like code analysis, requirement analysis, then development, and then unit testing. Next question is from Aydin. He is asking, my colleagues and friends always told me that backend is much more simple and less complicated compared to front-end development. Is it really true? Aydin, in simple words, no. Both backend and front-end have equal amount of complexity, and it is not easy to do any kind of development, be it back-end development or be it front-end development. The main thing why front-end development or front-end developers thinks that their work is tough, because customer sees their whatever they are doing, and if there is any small error, customer notices it very easily. However, in case of backend development, usually customer doesn't sees those things, because customer only care about how the software looks and whether the software work correctly or not. Whereas backend, when we talk about backend implementation, that is web services, web API, where the business logic, data saving logic and all these things are written, if they are not written correctly, the whole data can be corrupted. So importance of both backend and front end is equal, and none of the work is I can say that neither backend is more easy nor front end is more easy. Both of them has equal number of complexity, because even in front end also we have different kind of frameworks. When we talk about UI frameworks like different Angular, React, Vue, Blazor, so there are different type of UI frameworks. Then there are different type of CSS implementation. If you have to do any kind of UI related changes, you have to work on CSS, you have to work on JavaScript, you have to work on the UI framework. So these all changes are there, and the main thing is customer sees the front end, whereas backend has many complex rules and implementation or business logic implementation, where even a 1 point difference can give customer very huge loss in the business. So both have both front end and backend has equal level of complexity. None of them is more easier than other. Next question is from Nitin. He's asking, which Adobe software should I learn to have freelancing or part-time jobs? Nitin, all the Adobe products are more or less related to creative work, that is designing or editing and all those things. However, for doing freelance work, like most of the freelance work is in the form of, whether if you want to go for UI designing, photo editing and all those things, you need to learn Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator. So most of the UI designers, or you can say creative designers, use Adobe Illustrator or Adobe Photoshop for doing their design work. So be it logo design, be it pamphlet design, be it UI design, be it UX, even UX people also sometimes use Adobe Illustrator. So the softwares I think which you should learn for doing this freelance work, or you will get more freelance work if you know how to use Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator. If you are interested in doing video editing, then there is another Adobe software, that is I think Adobe Premiere Pro. I'm not very much sure about it because I don't use it. I use some other software for video editing, but Adobe Premiere Pro is also used for video editing. So if you are interested, or if you want to do video editing work, then you have to use Adobe Premiere Pro. But when we talk about designing work, most of the designing work is done in Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator. So you need to learn both of these softwares in order to get freelance design or part-time design jobs. Next question is from Tayyab Ali. He's asking, is it possible to switch my career to Azure DevOps development without having .NET coding? I am a React UI developer with less than 1 year of experience. Tayyab, let me clarify one thing to you, that there is no software field called Azure DevOps development. Azure DevOps is a completely different field, or you can say that Azure DevOps is basically a set of tools used to do DevOps activities, and DevOps is basically not a development, you can say it's not a development framework or something. It's basically, DevOps is a name given to a process of like combined process of managing whole software development life cycle. So Azure DevOps is basically a suite of product which is used to manage software, different aspects of software development lifecycle. Now coming to your question that can you do Azure DevOps without knowing .NET coding? The answer is yes. You can do Azure DevOps activities without knowing .NET coding, because as I said that Azure DevOps is primarily used for managing SDLC steps, different SDLC steps. For example, Azure Boards is used for project management, Azure Pipelines is used for creating CI/CD pipeline, Azure Artifacts are used for managing the artifacts, Azure Tests are used for managing the test plans and all the test related activities. So if you are doing all these things, or if you have to do any of these things, you can do it by learning technologies associated to it. For example, Azure Boards, you can't do anything in Azure Boards because you have very less experience. You are just a 1 year experienced developer. Azure Boards is primarily used by project managers. Now when we talk about Azure Repos is used for as a source control, and again you don't have to do much in Azure Repos. You have to just check in your code. However, if you are a DevOps developer, or I can say that DevOps professional, we don't call them DevOps developer because they are not developing anything. Usually we call it DevOps professional or DevOps engineer, and the primary roles and responsibilities of DevOps engineers are to manage the manage or create CI/CD pipelines, or to create or manage your repos. So different rules of the repos. So all these things, management of rules of repos and creating CI/CD pipelines. So you need to learn all these things in order to do Azure DevOps activities, especially the CI/CD or pipeline activities. So basically, I think what you want to know is what I think is you are confused by so many advertisement of DevOps professionals and so many advertisements of DevOps jobs that you confuse the Azure DevOps with regular DevOps. DevOps is a different, altogether complete different field, and there are many tools which are used in DevOps apart from Azure, and you don't need to know .NET for managing that. Similarly, for Azure DevOps also you don't need .NET to manage that. You need to know about the things related to DevOps activities, like you need to know about YAML, you need to know about PowerShell, you need to know about Bash scripting, or how you can do all the deployments and all the other stuffs. So if you know about all these things, then you can become a good DevOps professional. However, since you are a React UI developer, my suggestion for you would be to stick with React development, because React development also has very good scope, and don't jump between the technologies. Probably my suggestion for you would be to stick with React UI development and get experience and become an expert in React development. There are many opportunities for React developer also. And to answer your question, as I said that for Azure DevOps, you don't need to know about .NET coding, because most of these tasks are Azure DevOps things are related to management or pipeline management or SDLC management. It has nothing to do with .NET coding. Next question is from Abhishek. He's asking, how often do people use a design pattern while coding? Which ones do they use the most? Abhishek, people use design pattern very often while doing coding. However, most of the times they do it unknowingly. Let me give you an example of regular .NET development or .NET Core development. I would say that if you are writing a .NET Core application, by default you are going to use a repository pattern if you are using Entity Framework Core for data access. Or if you are like when you are basically configuring a service in configure services in startup.cs of .NET Core application or .NET 5 application, again you are using repository pattern there. But as many people don't know about repository pattern, so they are just using it unknowingly, because that's a process of implementing, because design patterns are nothing but they are name given to different processes or a way of doing the development. So it's basically for understanding a common patterns which are followed in doing in solving a particular kind of problem. So I would say that many people use design pattern unknowingly, but yes, design patterns are pretty often used by the developers. Now coming to the second one, that which one are used most often. The first one, I would say, especially in case of .NET developer in current situation, is repository pattern, as it is used most of the time in order to your like writing repositories, or in order to writing like repository for unit testing and all those things. So repository pattern is one of the most common use in current days. Then the second one is factory pattern, which is primarily used at as the backend level. Then singleton pattern is also a very common one, which is also used but not that common. When you are reading the design pattern, singleton pattern is most easiest to learn, whereas it is not usually used very commonly. So the most common one are repository pattern, factory pattern, and then MV star patterns, or they can be either MVVM pattern or MVC pattern. As you can see, ASP.NET MVC, already there is a MVC framework, UI framework given by ASP.NET, and MVC is also a design pattern. So MVC design pattern, MVVM design pattern, both of these design patterns are pretty commonly used. And as I said, that repository, factory, and MV star patterns are the most used patterns. Rest of the design patterns basically changes based on the requirement. So based on the requirement, that where we have to use what kind of design pattern, it changes based on the requirement. The kind of requirement you get, that kind of design pattern you use. These were my answers to your tech and career related queries in this episode of Techie Tuesdays. If you want your questions to be answered in next episode of Techie Tuesdays, you can DM me your questions with hashtag Techie Tuesdays on any social media platform. All my social media handles are Techie Rathor. I hope you like my answers, and if you like my answers, then please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with your friends, family, and colleagues. So until my next video, take care. Bye bye.